Subscribe now for new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Bodybuilding meal prep is one of the simplest steps you can take to making sure you achieve success on building a physique. Because getting the calories in, getting the correct macros in, getting all your meals in can sometimes come down to simply having the meals in front of you to inspire you to eat them. Because Lord knows we get lazy, or maybe we're not hungry, or we get home late and we're exhausted. Who knows what the reason is? It's not always the easiest or most convenient thing to stop and cook a meal. So simply buying cheap basic foods, potatoes, rice, chicken, and tuna, and pre-cooking them for the week ahead of you can go a long way. It only takes about an hour or so out of your day. Look at the suction on this thing. That's one freaking potato. I just cut it and it just suctions to the knife. So my meal prep is very basic. It's very simple. Russet potatoes, about 10 to 12 of them. I just grab a bag of russet potatoes from your local grocery store. They're not expensive at all, a few bucks. A pack of chicken breasts, which you can get at about 10 bucks for a good pack of 7 breasts or so at Walmart. About 8 cans of tuna fish, which you can get for, again, just a few dollars at your local grocery store. And then some rice, which you can get by the box for 2 bucks. So it's a very, very inexpensive week of eating. I cut up the russet potatoes as small as I possibly can because they cook faster that way and they cook thoroughly that way. I then obviously throw them into a bin of water to wash them as I'm cutting them up and peeling them, and then I will then boil them in a new fresh pot of water, of course. And I'll just let them boil for as long as I possibly can. The longer you let them boil, the better, because sometimes you'll think they're done, and then as you eat them or you go to mash them up later on, you'll find they're still a bit stiff in some areas. They didn't cook all the way through. That comes back to cutting them up small again. The cans of tuna, I open all at once using the electric can opener and the handheld simultaneously for that efficiency. And then I go ahead and load up the Tupperwares. And as you can see, one Tupperware is going to consist of rice as my main source of carbs. The other one is going to consist of potatoes. I found that tuna fish and rice obviously go very well together. I have a nice video on that. It's my tuna casserole, my homemade style. And then obviously chicken and potatoes is going to go well. If you have steak, then obviously your steak and potatoes is going to go well. Hence the old phrase, steak and potatoes, the meat and potatoes. So that's how I combine the two together. I group them up with what goes best with what. And I only make about a week's worth, so they don't risk going bad. So this will be one of the meals daily. It's 1.5 to 2 cups of white rice. You're getting a can of tuna fish in there. And I'll probably end up throwing just like a small slice of cheese on it, melting it in the microwave, making my little casserole that I showed you guys a few videos back. Tastes amazing. I know I'm minimizing dairy, but slide a little bit in here and there. Any greens that I have in the freezer, which are the same greens I showed you like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I haven't even cooked them yet. I will probably just end up cooking on the spot, just throw them in the microwave and serve them on the spot, because in my experience, trying to keep greens in the fridge as leftovers for more than like 2 or 3 days, it just turns them disgusting. So then again, I still drink my greens. RTN greens are real greens that have been freeze dried with no preservatives and probiotics. So I'm still drinking my greens even though y'all get mad at me. Not one of you's been able to present any sort of scientific argument as to why that's not as good as real greens, even though they're real greens. Inception.
Me is that the funniest thing.
I scrolled down your entire Twitter feed too to try to find like some tweet to her, some retweet that you must have done, but you haven't tweeted to her in fucking years.
She texted me and goes, "Glad that random fitness Twitter account retweeted Nick's tweet about us so the world knows we have big asses."
Adding a good amount of milk and a little bit of butter, margarine, anything that you would like of your preference is great for helping the potatoes become more liquidy, much softer texture, and of course it keeps them from lumping up and becoming nasty after you refrigerate them. Basically it makes them taste delicious and you feel like you're eating mashed potatoes and not some hardened up chunky mold. Then they're ready to be served. This will also help your measurements cup-wise become a lot more accurate because they'll fill out the entire cup instead of creating space. Alright, so we have the final meals all packed. This will be, I don't know which is going to come first or last in the day, but one of the meals is going to be the tuna fish and rice you just saw, which is all stacked up to the side here. And the other meal will be the chicken breast with about 2 cups of mashed potato. Each chicken breast is roughly 8 to 10 ounces. And I got about 6 of those made up. So we have a week's worth of food. So 2 meals out of the day are fully made up. One is 2 cups of white rice with 1 can of tuna. The other meal of the day will be 2 cups of potatoes with 8 to 10 ounces of chicken. And those will be my 2 solid pre-made meals throughout the day. In between that, I do have 2 liquid meals. Typically, they'll be RTN's Bionic Edge Mass Builder with like 1 scoop of whey in it. I've gone over that in the past plenty of times. This week, and actually this month, I should say, I have something new. And it's actually from Mark Lowbliner. He just sent it. It's MTS's meal replacement, the perfect meal replacement. And this stuff's pretty cool. I tried it once last night. It tastes amazing. It's really smooth. It's about 200 calories, 195 calories to be exact. You're looking at 21 grams of protein, 6 grams of fat, 8 grams of carbohydrates, and only 1 gram of those carbs are sugar. So it's actually quality carbohydrates. You put 2 scoops of that together, you're just shy of 400 calories with 42 grams of protein. Only 12 grams of fat, quality fats at that, and 16 grams of carbohydrates. So that's a pretty solid meal. It makes it so I don't have to add in the extra scoop of whey protein anymore because it's high in protein. And if anything, I can actually throw in an extra scoop of RTN's Mass Builder just for the extra carbs and fats because obviously I'm a hard gainer and I'm all about putting on that size. So my breakfast and my post-workout shake are going to consist of that combination, and I'll usually throw in like a half cup of oats as well just for some extra carbs, a little bit of fiber. So 2 of my meals are going to be liquid but still real quality, and then 2 of my meals are going to be the pre-made chicken and potatoes and tuna fish and rice that we have here. When it comes time to actually eat them, because these Tupperwares are tiny, they're literally only for storing them, I'll obviously put them into a bowl and I can add seasoning, or I can add flavoring, I can add whatever I want to it, heat it up in the microwave, melt cheese onto it. You can spruce it up a little bit. But my main plan here is to help me stay organized and make sure I get all the meals in, because I'm finding that as I'm trying to get myself back on track for competing, and I'm cutting out the gluten stuff, not because gluten's bad for you, just really to try to make myself digest better and to force myself to stick to quality sources of carbohydrates since I can't have my fun lazy boy foods anymore, aka the junk foods that I have way too much of. I'm finding that it's actually harder to get in the calories, especially when you don't have anything already made and you're feeling lazy or tired, or it's late at night. The last thing you want to do is cook up chicken or make something. So now I have no excuses. Everything's pre-made for me. I know I'm going to at least get my 2 anchor meals in there. I'm going to get my 2 big boy shakes in there. And then I can also have any oddball wild card meal that comes along my way. Should it be like going out to eat, or maybe going to Chipotle or whatever, or if there's some sort of random food that somebody brought home here, I can have that. So I'll get more calories through oddball meals throughout the day too. Obviously, if I go out and I go out to eat like twice a day, say I'm on a trip or something, I won't even need to touch these and I'll have them there for the following day. But that's how we're doing it right now. All the meals prepped, about 5 to 6 days worth of meals. And that's about as long as I keep chicken in the fridge for. After about a week or so, your chicken's no good. After about 2 weeks, your rice is going to be no good. So that's it. Stay tuned, because we're going to get really fluscular.